People are starting to come around on Deion Sanders and the Buffs. They're now viewed as a team to make the biggest jump in the Pac-12, and I agree. And I'm going to tell you why on today's episode of Locked On Buffs.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? This is Locked On Buffs. I am your host, Kevin Borbo. Today, we're talking about all things Colorado. They're going to make a huge jump. I'll tell you why. There's a very intriguing wide receiver battle going on right now through fall camp, maybe even through the beginning of the season. And then we're going to talk about some Pac-12 expansion odds, which teams have the best chance to join the Pac-12. But before we do, this episode is brought to you by Bird Dog. Bird Dogs are the official sponsor of Locked On. Go to birddogs.com/lockedon to get a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. Again, birddogs.com/lockedon. Okay. Also, Locked On Buffs, we're free and available every day, and we're available wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to check us out there. Let's dive right in. I think for the most part, there's been a lot of doubts surrounding Colorado. I think there's like this notion that because they were so bad last year that they can't be good again ever, apparently, or something. I don't know. I don't really understand the notion, but there's like this belief that because they were so bad and because they struggled this past year, that they're just not going to be good. And one, we don't know, but two, the amount of talent they brought in, it'd just be hard for them to not be good. I really think that Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, has done everything he needs to do, talent-wise, coaching-wise, both acquisition-wise, obviously. And then their schedule, I think, while it is difficult, there are winnable games. So I was doing my Athlon shenanigans, as I do. And because if you don't know, I cover Colorado for Athlon. So go check me out over there. There's a article talking about every team in the Power 5, or not every team, every conference in the Power 5, and which team will kind of emerge as the best team or the team better suited to improve. So teams poised to take the biggest jump, if you will. Not the best team. I don't want to say best team. Get you guys all riled up. The team's poised to take the biggest jump, which means have the most improvement. And obviously, this isn't a hot take. Seeing a team that won one game last year, winning 2 games would be a huge improvement. But I think there's a bigger jump in here than 2 games. I think 5 to 7 is possible. Anything beyond that, I would love to see. I'm going to be avidly watching this program. It's hard not to count on Coach Prime to win some football games, and he's expressed his confidence multiple times. So for the Pac-12, the selection was Colorado. This is what they said following Deion Sanders' purge. Very few players remained from Colorado's 2022 squad that went 1-11. The schedule is far from easy, includes just one non-Power 5 opponent in Colorado State, but the Buffaloes should be more competitive based on the talent of some Sanders transfer additions, especially once they get through early season matchups against TCU and USC and Oregon. So already right away, the narrative's changing about the Nebraska game. All of a sudden, people are like, oh, yeah, Colorado. Because at first, if you guys remember, it was, oh, yeah, Colorado has to play TCU and Nebraska. It's like Nebraska's not that good. They weren't good last year. Jeff Sims, while he's a great quarterback, great athlete with great intangibles of a good quarterback, has not been consistent ever. So I don't know why all of a sudden he goes to Nebraska and he's just the guy. He's a Heisman front runner apparently. But I think you'll notice that the Colorado-Nebraska game is kind of people are pumping the brakes on thinking that Colorado is going to lose that game, which I've always said that was a winnable game. I still think TCU's a winnable game. I think TCU's lost so much talent. Plus, they lost Garrett Riley, their offensive coordinator. You're going to tell me that they're just going to be clicking right away? I don't think so. That's not how it works. They have no continuity and they have an inexperienced quarterback. And I think when you have no continuity and an inexperienced quarterback, that's a recipe for disaster. Colorado, they don't have continuity, but their quarterback's experienced. Plus, they're going to build that continuity, as will TCU. But a lot of these guys haven't had the roles that they're going to have. The guys at Colorado on offense, they've already had bigger roles, which is why I think there's a difference. So obviously, they're all going to build their chemistry. And which you guys tell me doesn't matter. I still think it does. But one thing that does matter is the fact that Colorado has more battle-tested players at certain positions. Not all of them, but certain positions. Another reason, I just feel like Colorado has a will to, like, every team has a will to win, but Colorado's will to win is, like, growing on me. I don't want to say I was doubting, but I've been skeptical. I think it's fair to be skeptical of a program where we know nothing about this team. There's a lot of guys for every Travis Hunter, who's a former 5-star. There's some guys that are transferring in from a small FCS school. For every guy like Jimmy Horn Jr. or Xavier Weaver who have experience, there's guys like I don't know, just pick anyone. Kavosi Smoke, who has experience but wasn't the main guy, or safeties. They have a lot of them to pick from. Linebackers, we don't know what they're going to be. The trenches, we don't know what they're going to be. So I think it's okay to be skeptical. We don't know about this team. We don't know about them yet, but it's okay because we're learning about them. And so I too think that Colorado is going to take the biggest jump. I think it'd be between them and Arizona, realistically. Arizona, I think they're a game short of a bowl game last year. So I think for them, the biggest jump would be making a bowl game. And so I think for Colorado, their biggest jump is just anything that's better than last year. But I really think that with all the talent they've acquired and their coaches, which they got 3 of the top 20 coaching hires in college football, I think that's a recipe for success. And I think the Buffs are going to be doing just fine in 2023. Before we move on, this episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. If you want the most comfortable shorts ever, Bird Dogs, they make you look good. They're super comfortable. They have stretch khaki shorts that are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. Bird Dog shorts do the exact same thing as Lululemon, but they fit way better. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made of stiff, restricting cotton. Bird Dogs fixed this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. Bird Dogs use anti-stink, sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. I'm definitely a Bird Dogs supporter. They gave us a few pairs, and I've been mobbing in them. I'm not gonna lie to you. They're comfy. You can kind of wear them anywhere. I tell you guys all the time, I wear them to play softball on Thursday nights, which we have a game tonight. Shout out. Looking to go 3-1. And I've worn them to dinners. So they're very versatile. If you want a pair of Bird Dogs, go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege for a free Yeti style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/lockedoncollege for a free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise. Okay, let's dive right into this wide receiver position battle. I think it's one of the more interesting position battles maybe on the team. I was definitely a little skeptical of – no, I'm going to say skeptical. I don't want to keep saying skeptical. I'm not skeptical of the receivers. I think the wide receiver room is probably the best room they have on the roster. But I'm intrigued to see who will emerge because we know Jimmy Horn and Travis Hunter. I think they've already solidified 2 spots. I think them being there in spring, working with the offense, those 2 spots are locked up. It is what it is. I think that's the benefit they gain from being there. But there's going to be essentially, I would say, 5 or 6 guys competing for 2 spots. And I'm looking at Sean Lewis's offenses from the past few years. And we'll go from 2022 to 2020. We'll just do 2022 to 2020. So top receiver in 2022, I don't know. It's Devontae Walker, 58 catches. Dante Cephas, 48 catches. Deshaun Polk, 31. And then Raymond James, 13. Trell Harris, 13. So, okay. So 2 guys with over 45 catches, 3 with over 30. Keep that in mind. Go to 2021, 82 from Dante Cephas, Nakeem Johnson at 54, 47, and then 26. Noticing a trend here. Let's go back to 2020, and then this will be my last year I discuss. Let's not. That was a COVID year. We'll go 2019. They had 56, 48, 44, 34. So basically, 3 to 4 guys are going to be heavily featured in the offense. The other guys, not so much. So, like, obviously they have guys that are getting like 13, 10 catches, but Colorado has a lot of receivers. They just do. They have guys like Tavares Dawson. They have Jalen Ellis. They have Javon Antonio. So realistically, I wanted to discuss this wide receiver battle because, like I said, I think there's already two spots basically claimed. But who does that leave contending for the other spots? Well, Javon Antonio, the 6'4" monster who, if you go on my Buffs on Athlon Twitter page, I retweeted a tweet of him making a huge one-handed catch, and literally the defender's all over him, and it doesn't bother him because he just jumps up, kind of bounces off the defender, makes the catch. Then there's guys like Xavier Weaver, who I think that was one of my stars to look out for. I think he's a rising star for the Buffs. He left USF as one of their most accomplished receivers of all time, and I think he's going to carry that over to Colorado. I just do. So that then there's those two. Then you have 4-star Marion Miller, who another big body receiver. Adam Hopkins, another 4-star. You have Jalen Ellis. There's a lot of guys vying for these spots, and realistically, I don't know who. I just don't think that we're going to see all of them. Which some of these guys came over with multiple years of eligibility. There's Willie Gaines from Jackson State. Who else am I missing? Caleb Mathis, Assad Wasim. So there's a lot of guys that are vying for 2 spots, really, maybe 3. But to be that third guy, you're probably just going to be every once in a while. You're getting a few touches, but realistically, they have 4 to 6 guys, maybe even 7, battling for 2 spots. So I think this fall camp and even this little summer workouts we've been seeing, this is going to be vital. And realistically, it's going to come down to who they think has the best connection with Shadur, who they think has the best grasp of the offense, because grasping the offense proved to be a challenge for some guys in spring. I think that's why Colorado went so heavy in the portal. My freaking mic again. They wanted to get guys comfortable, but they also kind of needed like obviously they were going to replace the last year's guys, but I feel like there was hope that they wouldn't have to address certain positions as much as they had in the portal. But receiver, they have a lot of playbook to learn. It's going to be interesting. Before I continue, I also want to let you guys know, if you're a fan of the NBA, we got just the thing for you. Locked On NBA's mock draft specials here, and it's bigger than ever. Follow along the entire first round in a 6-episode ultimate mock draft only Locked On can deliver. All episodes are available now on Locked On NBA Big Board on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Continuing back to Colorado, though, and the Buffs, the receivers. Realistically, I think Sean Lewis's offense, I don't think anything's going to change. I think there's going to be 4 top receivers. It's going to be a mixture of who Shadur has good chemistry with and who has the best grasp of the offense. So obviously a guy like Willie Gaines, they should have good chemistry, but does Willie Gaines fit what they want to do? I don't know. I think Javon Antonio offers size. Amarian Miller offers size. Xavier Weaver, not that big, but he offers a jump ball getter, deep ball threat. So it just really depends what you bring to the table. If I had to predict the starting 4 wide receivers right now, Jimmy Horn, Travis Hunter, Javon Antonio, and then Xavier Weaver would be my starting 4. And it's hard to include these other guys. Guys like Tavares Dawson, though, has 4 years of eligibility. So even if he doesn't play this year, guys are going to be leaving. Jimmy Horn and both Xavier Weaver are probably draft bound after. I think Weaver for sure. I don't know Jimmy's eligibility, but they're probably both draft bound. So spots are going to open up. It's just Coach Ryan's probably going to bring in more talent. A guy like Jalen Ellis, who transferred from Baylor, maybe he gets a little frisky and seals his, maybe he's the next man up, because I believe he's a grad transfer. So I don't know if he wants to go as last year, just riding the pine. So it's going to be really interesting to see who emerges. But those are my 4. And it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be an all-out battle, to really a bloodbath, really, to see who wins those starting spots. Who do you guys think? Comment below. Who would be your top 4 receivers right now for Colorado? Maybe we'll have similar ones. Maybe we'll have different ones. That's okay. Moving on, though, we're going to be talking about the Pac-12 teams. Not the Pac-12 teams. We're going to be talking about the teams that have the best odds, hypothetical odds, to join the Pac-12 in realignment when we come back from the break. Welcome back. We're now talking about Pac-12 realignment, Pac-12 expansion. I've I've been super intrigued by Pac-12 expansion this whole year. It's something that when I write about, it seems a lot of people are intrigued. So I figured you guys would want to hear about it. There are 8 Pac-12 expansion candidates right now, kind of. Um, a fella by the name of Adam Thompson. He's an odds maker, so you got to trust him a little bit. From bookies.com, he made odds, hypothetical odds, so you can't bet on these, maybe yet, of the top candidates for the Pac-12 and how likely they are to join the Pac-12. So I wanted you to know from least to best or least to greatest who has the best odds to join the Pac-12. So the field, they have an 8.3% chances. It's kind of just anyone else not included. These would be teams like Rice, who's in Houston, Texas, USF, obviously in Tampa, Florida. I kind of broke it down and said outside the other 8 candidates, there haven't been any serious contenders. There just haven't been other schools. I think Rice has been the only school that the Pac-12 is like, because they've academically Rice is a top, I think, 15 university in the country. Football wise, though, they are bottom 20. They're both in good markets, but again, they're not competitive. USF is too far. Boise State. I think if you asked anyone in 2008 if Boise State by the year 2023 would be in a Power 5 or bigger conference, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Boise State. They're the best. They're the best non-Power 5 team in the country." Boise State does not reside in a good market, and they're no longer viewed in the same light they once were. Fresno State, right in the heart of Pac-12 country. They're kind of getting a little tough draw though. They're literally in the heart of Pac-12 country, which I live like an hour from Fresno. So as I know, it's not a very attractive market. Realistically, they're a good competitive program. They're not a market that anyone really, maybe the Big 12 ones, but not the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is trying to get back into Southern California. Fresno's like near Southern, like they're on the way to Southern California. I drive through Fresno to get to Southern California, but that's about it. And then they have the Bay Area schools, Cal and Stanford. So Fresno's not really the Valley, as great as it is down here. Fresno's not really tapping into anything new. This one is an interesting one. There are let me go back. Boise State and Fresno State both have 6.7% chances. Hawaii, 9.5% chance, plus 950 odds. They have, I mean, if you get Hawaii, you're getting the whole state, which is pretty cool. They have a new stadium. Other than that, though, Hawaii hasn't been that competitive. Market's decent, but it does get the Pac-12 into another time zone. Tulane, 11.1% chance. This is one of my top candidates because New Orleans offers a great, while New Orleans isn't a top market, I believe it's top 50. New Orleans is a very poppin' place. I think you can really, plus it kind of expands the Pac-12 East, which I don't know if that's their goal. But I think Tulane kind of has they're kind of hot right now. Academically, they're a top school as well, but they're hot on the football field. So they'd be a great addition competition-wise. Colorado State, they've already been confirmed to be one of the 3 top 4 candidates. The odds here say otherwise, though. Plus 750, 11.8%. Geographically, they make sense. If Colorado were for some reason to leave the Pac-12, I guess the Pac-12 could just plug in Colorado State. UNLV, 12.5% chance. Vegas is the hub for the Pac-12 championship game. They have the Pac-12 tournament there, but apparently the Pac-12 doesn't want them. Maybe it's academics. Maybe it's because they haven't been good at football in a while, but Vegas isn't, I think, which I'll get to my 4 teams, which I think they should add later. I think Vegas would be a good one. SMU, Dallas. It's a huge market. They're a very competitive football program, and George Kliavkoff even took a trip there during this past season. So SMU could definitely be. I think they're kind of the 12th team in, or the 12th team. I think San Diego State, who has the best odds at plus 233.3%. They've been viewed as a lock. Only thing that I think could interfere with them is literally their July 1st deadline. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. Realistically, if you told me to pick 4 teams to add right now, I'd add San Diego State, SMU, UNLV, and then Tulane. I don't know Colorado State. I feel like they're not doing it for me. I would want them to be. I want all these programs to be competitive right away. Which obviously it's all about TV markets and stuff. But if I had to pick between UNLV and Colorado State, I feel like two programs that have been not so good at football as of late. UNLV's in Las Vegas. I feel like you could do more in Vegas or figure something out. I just feel like there's more promise there. And so those would be my four teams. Let me know below in the comments which four teams you would add. And let me know some questions for Friday's mailbag episode, which is tomorrow. I already got some good ones, but I want some more. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in to Locked On Buffs. I am your host, Kevin Borba. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, share. The more people you share it with, the more I grow, the more we all grow together. So again, I appreciate you guys, and you guys have a great Thursday. Wish me luck for softball.